This is a video about me wearing a hat,
They go a lot deeper than I thought.
Locke wearing a hat,
All about a hat.
and oh yeah, a Nikon Z8. Sponsored by Adorama for all your camera gear needs, plus more. Please check out the affiliate links in the description, it helps support this channel. Hello, today we are at Goodwood Revival. What does that mean? People are dressed in fancy dress. Kind of. Well, the era is 40s to 60s. That very specific, non-specific era. You basically, if you look around, you can dress however you like, so long as it's kind of 40s to 60s. Kind of, yeah.
The normal suit and then a hat.
Exactly. I mean, it's pretty easy for guys. All you have to do is just wear your best suit or blazer. This is just normal stuff for Locke. This is just his daily wear.
Yeah.
And then you wear a hat or
that's it.
suspenders and a waistcoat.
It's all about a hat.
It's all about the hat.
Put on a hat, oh, it's 50s.
Obviously for ladies it's a little bit different. They've even got a hair salon here if you want to do your hair up in a beehive or stuff like that. I don't have enough hair, unfortunately. It's quite magnificent to see. Let's have a look what else. Let's have a look what's over here. Oh, look at that car.
They got that BMW. Yes. Very small car thing.
So we have been invited here by Nikon. Thank you very much, Nikon. So might as well talk about Nikon because I didn't bring any cameras. We're just gonna borrow some of Nikon's gear.
Can we say what this was supposed to be about?
I believe, well, nobody knows. I thought it was going to be about the new ZF, which is probably announced by the time I've got this video out. It makes sense, doesn't it? Goodwood Revival, reviving classics, and they're reviving a classic, well, sort of, in terms of looks, with the ZF. Look at this, I'm carrying two lenses here. Don't do bags.
What camera do you have?
I have got the Z. Thank you for asking, Locke. This is the Z8. Mate, in my opinion, is probably the best.
Oh, I'm
camera.
using, it's the same.
Oh yeah,
I'm using Z8 as well.
That's incredibly convenient. Thought we'd try it out because we had a play with it for about 20 minutes outside their office. Right, just have a nice shot with a bit of a guy enjoying Calippo in the background. They had Calipos back in the 40s and 60s.
Well, he's probably saying, yeah, because they had Nikon Z8s in the 40s.
Oh, what's that? It's like made for a cartoon or something.
Yeah. Basically, the person who drives it's there, and somebody has to cling on for dear life over there. It's like, let's watch this guy try to stay alive. You know, try not to fall off. Limit my shooting opportunities when I'm doing that, but never mind. So yeah, a little bit more about Goodwood Revival. It's a bit like, you know, Pity. It's a bit like a fashion show, but retro. Some people have just fallen short of the mark. I think the boiler suit is probably the one that I don't know what to do. Well, I don't know what to go for. I'll just wear boiler suit. They just come from fixing the gas boiler. Here, it's sort of like a Coachella for old things, and there's no music. And instead of music, there's cars. So yeah, I've got the Nikon Z8, which I think is probably the best pro-grade body, not just from Nikon, maybe from everybody. It's great. It's a nice. When you think of pro bodies, this is what you'd expect. It's tough, it's solid, it's got a good grip, and it's got pretty much all you need on it. Apart from a few things that it's got on the Z9 that you don't on this. Well, at least it's got an SD card, which I like for paupers like myself that can't afford posh memory cards. Oh, it's gone. Okay. that's why we can get to the front.
Yeah, he's one that pushed the car around the track race. Congrats. Treat yourself to a Calippo.
I like that guy's hat. So we've come into a special area. I think this is the Panox. This is for VIPs, I think. Some people weren't allowed in. I think in terms of specs wise, this screen is not as good as, say, the A7R5, sorry, but I think it's a really good screen. following the sounds. There's nothing intelligent to what I'm doing. I'm just, that sounds loud, I'm going to head towards that. Not even just motor cars, you've got tricycles from an old era. The Z8 is essentially a Z9 in a smaller body. In some ways there's not too much to talk about it. Pick this if you like smaller bodies. If you like a Z9 but it's too big, get this. Like a mixture of people shots and car shots. Everybody seems to be going for small compact 28mm recently. I've sort of forced my way to liking the 28mm. That's one of my favourite lenses. At the end of the day, you'll probably just need to have some oxygen tanks and just breathe some pure oxygen to kind of balance it out a bit. Look at that one, that's like a cartoon car. That's like a...
They got a face.
Yeah, it's like a car from a Korean animation or something like that. It should be called like Booby Poo or something like that. The guy's got a pram full of cigars.
Is that seagull real or fake?
That's fake.
It's fake, isn't it?
Well, because it's the Z9 in the smaller body, the focus is fantastic. Last time we used the Z9 focus on the Lotuses at their test track, I mean, they weren't perhaps not going as fast as this.
So in Lotus, they are kind of babying the car.
Yeah.
But here, they are really going for it.
And that's the fastest shutter speed of 32 thousandths of a second. Electronic shutter because, well, that's all there is. There's no shutter, is there? There's no mechanical shutter. It's all electronic shutter. I mean, they claim there's hardly any rolling shutter. And really, you can't see any rolling, well, hardly any noticeable rolling shutter. We've even seen the same Lotus that we saw at the Lotus track, but they didn't drive them at the Lotus track. They did here. The one with the gas turbine.
And the subject recognition, I set it to auto. It recognizes car, and then I turn it to you, it recognizes your eyes.
When you're taking a shot, where it has that one frame where it goes blank before you go through the whole burst. But when you're taking a burst, you're basically just watching the action live. But of course now Nikon facing competition, everybody's going to bring out their own camera which is kind of high resolution with a burst. And Sony's got A7R5. What else have we got? I mean, Leica had the Q3, which is high resolution and you do burst, and of course that is basically a Panasonic inside, so probably had a Sony sensor. Let's face it, there's going to be a number of cameras with high resolution and a fast burst soon. But I think with the Z8 and Z9s, they've really started to push the video a lot. I think they did with the Z6 and Z7, especially the Mark IIs, with raw video and things like that. but that kind of, you needed to have an external recorder. With this, they just made it a bit more sensible. So you can do a lot more in camera. They want to appeal to the video crowd, which is why Locke is filming with a Z8 right now. Potentially the Z8 is a camera that could attract a lot of new users in the video market. Will it? Probably not. Because I think video peeps, they also want something to upgrade to as well. You know, Canon and Sony have got the Cine line cameras which they can upgrade to. Very expensive ones, very fancy, proper professional grade video cameras. With Nikon, you don't have that.
Well, I think the Z6 Mark II was the one that started to be as good as other like Sony, Canon. It's just, oh, could they finally comparable?
Yeah.
But then it is Z9 that actually is quite amazing.
When we were talking about Nikon and mirrorless cameras, they were quite early in the game, weren't they? Full frame mirrorless, sorry.
I was going to say
Full frame mirrorless.
J1.
Full frame mirrorless, they got their Z6 and Z7 out just before Canon announced. And you know, they came out with this whole thing of, oh, it's got a big lens mount, short flange distance. It sounded good, just people didn't really take to it as much as I thought. Because I thought this would be the new glory days for Nikon, but not really. You see a lot of Z6 and Z7s going for very cheap on eBay. But I think it's just the brand, the image of the brand, it's just not as cool, is it? You don't see any like Peter McKinnon's or his friend Matty using it. They use Sony and Canon, don't they? You don't see any trendy YouTubers using Nikon.
Yeah, I don't use Nikon.
The Z8 is a fantastic camera, incredibly capable and convincing given that it's a camera that relies purely on electronic shutter to take photos. It's one of my favourite cameras of the year because it is essentially a Z9 in a body that I could see myself actually using. There seems to be very little compromise and that is incredibly attractive. But I feel if Nikon want to get more people on board, they need some updates to their cameras below this. The ZF, another of my faves of 2023, is a good addition. I just hope, for Nikon's sake, that they keep it up for 2024.